minutes left, Archangel Michael saying, "A big miracle will happen in your life, but you are making a big mistake. Please don't do this." Open immediately. The sky is not silent anymore. It cracks in places where light once hid, bleeding gold and crimson as the final 45 minutes begin. You feel it in your bones, the pressure, the tension, the invisible hands pressing on your chest with every breath. The air shimmers strangely, like something is watching. A choice you made, one you thought small, has sent out invisible ripples, and they have touched something sacred. The fabric of your destiny has been scratched, and time is reacting. God says this was never supposed to unfold this way. A miracle had been marked for your house, your body, your bloodline. But there is something dark clinging to your spirit, a decision uncorrected, and it is clouding what was supposed to shine. A white moth lands on your window, but its wings turn black as it settles. This is not ordinary. The veil is thinning, and with it, your alignment with the divine is trembling. You can feel the misstep, though you try to pretend it's nothing. The moon trembles behind torn clouds. Stars blur as though divine eyes are weeping. You were chosen for a blessing that would burn through years of pain, but the door to it is cracked, not open. God says you have delayed something sacred by resisting a single act of obedience. You knew what to cut loose. You knew what to leave behind. But you waited, hoping comfort and promise could sleep in the same bed. The hourglass shivers. Sand doesn't fall, it screams. Every grain feels like a heartbeat that was meant to explode into favor, now hanging in peril. The wind outside carries more than wind, it carries warnings. A crow flies backward across your vision, unnatural, distorted. Signs have been given, but you've been drowning in distractions, thinking they were peace. Archangel Michael says you are not abandoned, but you are not safe. Something unclean wraps around your name like smoke. You think you have time, but time is a glass burning from the inside out. You were given dreams that warned you. Faces that turned in odd ways, clocks that melted, voices that spoke without mouths. All of it was your soul remembering what your spirit forgot. Not all comfort is holy. You feel a pressure on your back. That is not stress. That is the weight of delay settling into your atmosphere. Your miracle waits like a lion pacing behind a fragile gate. A name you keep mentioning is the cause. The alignment between you and heaven is distorted because you have allowed someone access to you who speaks one thing but thinks another. Their words bless, but their soul is bitter and binding. God says the miracle is not denied. But it is suspended. And you are the one holding the thread that either pulls it into your now or breaks it entirely. Thunder grumbles but never claps. It's a warning without volume, like mercy hesitating to leave. A decision made long ago is surfacing again, asking for correction. You know exactly what this is about, even as you read this. A spiritual clock is ticking in reverse now, sucking the light out of your coming days if you don't act. The betrayal wasn't external, it was internal. You betrayed your higher knowing to keep a counterfeit peace. Archangel Michael says the sword is unsheathed, not to harm you, but to sever the false alignment trying to drain your miracle dry. But heaven won't do what you must choose. In your silence, you are inviting sabotage. In your delay, you are dancing with devourers. Something holy is trying to be born, but you are standing in the wrong posture. You were warned when your phone glitched at 3:33. You were warned when your dreams turned to shadows. You were warned when the person you trust began echoing your exact words before you even spoke them. God says stop pretending not to see. You are not confused, you are afraid. But fear is a liar that locks gates heaven already unlocked. You are standing in the center of a divine decision, and your movements in the next breath will decide the shape of your future's inheritance. Time has not left you yet, but it is watching you closely. The pressure you feel tonight is not anxiety. It is the groaning of the miracle trying to descend, stuck in spiritual traffic caused by your indecision. The air smells different because the presence around you has shifted. In the hallway of your spirit, doors are opening and closing fast. You must run to the right one. But you are still standing still, too frozen by what you don't want to lose, to embrace what you're meant to gain. There is a sound beneath the sounds, metal grinding, echoes turning backward. Reality is folding in strange places, adjusting to your hesitancy. This was the hour your miracle was meant to touch earth, but hesitation has brought delay. You see the signs. You feel the shifting. The cold spots around you, the flickers of light from nowhere, the sense that someone is always behind you, they're not random. Archangel Michael says this moment was carved in the stars. But you are turning away from the opening, like Lot's wife looking back when she should have run. Don't do this. There is still time, but it is sharp now, not soft. The next words you speak, the next agreement you make, will either summon divine justice or protection. Choose. The night deepens, but it does not grow quiet. There is a strange sound beneath everything, like silk tearing, like breath being stolen just before it reaches the lungs. You've heard this before, not with your ears, but with the inner chamber of your spirit, and it's growing louder. A door has appeared in your atmosphere. You've walked past it many times, feeling drawn yet unsure why. Behind that door is the voice you keep obeying, though it never speaks aloud. This is the voice that mimics protection but only causes delay. It sounds like love, but it smells like control. It offers safety but plants fear in the deepest soil of your heart. God says this door was not meant to be opened again. You closed it once, but your weakness in a vulnerable moment let the lock twist back. Now, the spirit behind it is whispering louder, feeding you half-truths coated in good intentions. You can't afford to open it again, not even in memory, not even in pity. Because what waits behind it is not dormant. It is awake, hungry, and more intelligent than before. It knows your patterns, your longing, your softest places. The fog curling outside your window is not weather. It is spiritual interference, trying to blur what you already know to be true. Every time you reach for what is familiar but spiritually unclean, the fog thickens. Archangel Michael says your discernment is under siege. That voice you're entertaining is not neutral, it's strategic. It's trying to weaken your authority before the miracle can manifest. You were not meant to feel guilty for pulling away. Guilt is the chain being used to bind you to someone or something no longer blessed. They don't curse you with their mouth, but their spirit does. A presence keeps visiting you. Not in form, but in frequency. A name that comes to your mind uninvited, a song that plays at just the wrong time, a memory that drags your chest into old wounds. These are not innocent. They are bait. You've been marked for freedom, but this door behind you is the counterfeit of love. It's the whisper that says, just check once more, when heaven already told you to leave it closed forever. The voice is kind, but it's a trap. God says the enemy is not trying to destroy your miracle outright. He's trying to delay it long enough for your faith to decay. The longer you linger by that door, the louder it knocks. There is a heaviness now that you've accepted as part of life. It's not life. It's residue. Residue from moments where you were supposed to say no but stayed silent instead. You think you are being noble by trying to heal what heaven already buried. But you're not a resurrection force for what God has declared dead. You are not called to be the savior of someone who carries poison in their praise. You keep feeling watched. Because you are. Something attached itself the last time you engaged in that conversation, and it has followed you in shadow. It doesn't shout. It whispers just enough to confuse. Archangel Michael says this spirit behind the door has studied you. It has copied your language, mimicked your beliefs, and hidden in your empathy. But now, the clock is near zero, and it wants more than influence. It wants authority over your choice. This next decision is not small. It is cosmic. One yes, and you lose timing. One no, and you regain thunder. The cold feeling in your spine is not your imagination. That's alignment breaking apart. The miracle you've waited for is circling above, but the coordinates are scrambled every time you entertain what you should release. God says this season is not about testing your strength, it's about honoring your clarity. You already know. You already felt it when the room grew heavy, when your body tensed in their presence, when silence felt like a warning. The whispers are subtle. They come in kindness. In memories. In photos. in dreams that feel romantic but end in static. You are being baited, emotionally groomed to tolerate sabotage in the name of mercy. Your miracle is allergic to this energy. It cannot land while that agreement still lives in your shadow. You are not just deciding for now, you are shaping 5 years forward with this next movement. Archangel Michael says your name is still written in light. But darkness is trying to smudge it. Not with sin, but with distraction, delay, and pity. The one you keep praying for is not praying for you. Not really. They want access, not alignment. They want your light but will not protect your flame. That's why every time you get close to joy, something pulls you back. That pull is not just emotion. It's the residue of your own spiritual passivity. You didn't fight when you should have. You allowed when you should have cut. God says this next breath must be holy. Even your silence must roar with decision. You are on a battlefield where swords are invisible, but the wounds are permanent. This is not about forgiveness, it's about alignment. You can forgive someone and still forbid them access to your promise. Mercy doesn't mean mutuality. Grace doesn't mean reunion. The miracle is still yours. But it is pacing like a creature with fire in its veins. It cannot enter while contamination reigns in your soul's backdoor. That strange dream you had last night, the one where someone knocked but had no face, is a warning. Stop letting access dictate your atmosphere. Stop letting history be the excuse to keep future miracles from landing. You are being watched, measured, and weighed, not to punish you, but to prove the integrity of your yes. There is no more time to compromise for peace. Peace is not agreement. Peace is obedience. The door behind you is not neutral. It holds a voice that wants to rewrite your destiny in small, unnoticeable edits. You will still be alive, but not aligned. Awake, but delayed. Gifted, but bound. Close it. With your spirit. With your intention. With your silence. There is something dangerous in the beauty you're drawn to. It looks like healing, it feels like hope, but it is laced with slow poison. The deception isn't loud, it glows gently, speaking in the tone of comfort, disguising destruction beneath the skin of safety. You've stepped into rooms that felt holy but left you hollow. That's not your fault, it's a setup crafted to make you trust what looks divine but moves like a shadow. Not all light comes from heaven, some is designed to blind rather than guide. You were marked since childhood for something unusual. That mark shines now, more than ever, and it's drawing both blessing and bait. The blessing is aligned with your obedience. The bait is attached to your emotions. There is a spirit that knows how to dress up your past and wear it like a future. It speaks with your voice in dreams. It walks with your rhythm in memory. But it is not of God, it is sent to confuse timing. God says you are moments away from a violent unraveling of everything false. But that unraveling requires one thing: refusal. Refusal to revisit, to rewrite, to rescue what heaven already revoked. There is someone in your atmosphere pretending to carry light. They say the right things. They move the right way. They even cry when you speak, but their tears are acidic. They want to be near your future, not in it. And they know the difference. You've been praying for peace, but you're tolerating poison. That contradiction is why your energy keeps dipping, why your vision keeps dimming. You don't need more time, you need more truth. Archangel Michael says this false light is imitating your purpose. It's showing you a version of success that keeps you connected to the wrong source. It offers confirmation, but not covenant. It gives you compliments, but not covering. You're walking with something that should have been burned by now. But your mercy has created a tether that even your discernment can't cut. That's the trick: manipulation disguised as loyalty. Kindness wrapped around control. The miracle hasn't left, it's circling. But it cannot descend until your hands are empty of counterfeit alignment. If you keep clutching what was only meant for a season, your next season will rot before it ripens. You keep hearing footsteps when no one is around. That's not anxiety. That's a spirit trying to echo through your decision-making. It wants you to think you're alone, so you reach for old comforters. But that comfort is cursed. You have ancestors praying over you, watching as you flirt with a fate they escaped for your sake. They escaped it through suffering. You will escape it through silence and surrender. This is not about sin. It's about substitution. You've been replacing divine direction with emotional memory. That exchange is what's causing the static between you and the miracle. Archangel Michael says this false light is a sign to make you second-guess the clarity you had in your weeping moment. The moment you let go. The moment you felt that holy silence after the storm. That clarity was real, but now it's under assault. You're not confused. You're being influenced. And the longer you stay in indecision, the more familiar the false voice becomes. Familiarity is not confirmation. It's just comfort in disguise. There is a pattern trying to repeat itself. It comes around every time breakthrough is near. First, you feel lonely. Then, something old returns. Then, you get a sign wrapped in nostalgia. And finally, you delay, telling yourself, maybe this time. But this time is not like last time. This time, the miracle is timed to precision. One small error could reroute months of divine movement. You are standing between an almost and an always. God says the only thing blocking your always is your refusal to release the almost. The almost healed. The almost right. the almost holy. These are the things that carry leeches under their light. You've been asked to fast from someone's presence, not food. That fast is harder. But that fast will save your future. It's not about demonizing them, it's about detoxing from the influence they have on your spiritual ears. Their words ring like prophecy, but their energy feels like pressure. That dissonance is your warning. They are not who they were when you met them. And you are not who you were when you accepted them. You keep having dreams where you're late, out of place, or disoriented. That's not your subconscious. That's your spirit wrestling against the delay being seeded by your indecision. The miracle cannot operate in divided airspace. Archangel Michael says the enemy has learned that outright warfare doesn't work on you. So he's changed the tactic. He now uses fake destiny to seduce you. It's not attack. It's offer. It's flattery. It's false reunion. That's why your strength has been inconsistent lately. You're not weak, you're distracted. You're not failing, you're splitting. Between who you were loyal to and who you're called to become. The false light always comes before the real breakthrough. It's the test that reveals your trust. Can you walk away from almost, when heaven is about to hand you always? There's someone who is watching you from behind spiritual curtains. They do not wish you harm, but they do wish you delay. That's worse. Harm you can resist. Delay you often excuse. God says this is the last time He will allow certain doors to stay unlocked without consequence. He's been patient. He's been kind. But now, heaven's rhythm is moving forward whether you're ready or not. There's a trembling in the atmosphere. A sound like a veil being torn in half. That's not fear. That's transition. The false light is about to flicker. Archangel Michael says your name is on a scroll that's being lifted into open heaven. But it cannot be fully revealed until your environment matches your calling. And right now, something still whispers lies into your soul when you're tired. It ends now. It has to. You will either step into alignment, or be pulled into delay. The choice is holy. The time is thin. And the miracle, it's waiting for clarity, not perfection. The sound you keep hearing in the background of your thoughts, that soft pressure, that aching silence, is not emptiness. It's a boundary being stretched by something that no longer belongs near you. What once felt like love now feels like warning, and it isn't just your spirit noticing. There's a chain, unseen but deeply wrapped, fastened to a vow you never meant to keep. It was spoken when you were broken, formed in a moment of trauma that twisted loyalty into a prison. You told yourself it was strength, but really, it was survival. God says this chain is spiritual, emotional, and generational. It connects you not just to a person, but to a pattern. Every time you get free, something happens to pull you back, not with force, but with familiarity. You've forgiven them, but you haven't released them. That's where the leak is. That's where the divine delay is feeding itself, on the loophole of lingering connection. You may have walked away physically, but the soul is still whispering back when it hears the sound of their sorrow. It's not cruelty to ignore that whisper. It's obedience. Archangel Michael says this forbidden chain was set in motion long before you knew their name. It was waiting for your vulnerability. It showed up as comfort when you were most undone. And now it hides behind memories, pretending to be part of your destiny. There is a heaviness in your chest not caused by sadness, but by sacred friction. That tension is the miracle's signal. It will not be born into a space where false loyalty still reigns. You are dangerously close to stepping into your true timeline. But timelines bend when soul ties remain active. And this tie, the one you're too kind to sever, has corrupted your atmosphere more than you realize. You're not being punished. You're being purified. Not because you sinned, but because the miracle you're called to carry is weighty. And weighty things cannot be built on fragile foundations. There is a shadow trying to stand behind you in the place of covering. But that shadow is not a protector, it's a parasite. It watches you cry and comforts you just enough to keep you close. That's not compassion. That's containment. You were meant to walk alone for a time. But you keep inviting spectators into your sacred healing. They do not understand the cost of your calling. They think you're evolving, they don't know you're battling. Every time you hear their voice, something in your spirit shrinks. That's your confirmation. Every time they reach out, your clarity dims. That's your warning. Every time you consider going back, your dreams lose color. That's your signal. The miracle can't compete with divided hope. It requires your full yes. Not your polite pause. Not your silent maybe. Your full yes. Archangel Michael says the chain that's been wrapped around your spirit will snap, not softly, but violently. And when it breaks, you may feel loss. That is not loss. That is holy space. Do not try to fill that space too quickly. That is where God will meet you. Not in noise. Not in advice. Not in comfort. But in that empty, quiet chamber that once belonged to betrayal. The one who keeps checking on you is not checking for your good. They're checking to see if you still bleed where they once cut. That attention is not love. It is curiosity with claws. God says the chain you're breaking is older than you. It came through your bloodline, wrapped in the language of duty and self-sacrifice. But it ends with you. This is the final generation that will tolerate love as manipulation. You're going to feel a tremor in your body soon. A shiver with no source. That is the moment the link begins to loosen. That is the sign the miracle is near. Your silence is now a weapon. You are not required to explain, to prove, or to mend. You are required only to obey the trembling of your spirit when it says, "No more." There is a false prophecy being spoken over your life by someone who used to have access to your spirit. They are not evil, but they are not holy either. They speak from pain, not from purity. That chain is reinforced every time you justify the relationship. Let it crumble. Let it be misunderstood. Let it die in confusion, so your clarity can be born. The miracle has already begun unfolding, but it will not complete if you're still tethered to what tried to keep you from it. Heaven is not punishing you, it's protecting the seed you haven't even seen bloom yet. Archangel Michael says your name has been shouted in the courts of heaven. A decree has gone forth. And the decree is this: sever the tie, or silence the blessing. The choice has come to your doorstep. You have already outgrown the version of you that created that chain. It was needed once, yes. But not now. Now it is your cage. God says the fire that's been pressing you wasn't punishment, it was sterilization. To purify your emotions. To burn the thread that kept wrapping back around your soul in quiet moments. You are stronger now. You don't need their voice. You don't need their guilt. You don't need their checking in. What you need is complete closure with no key left under the mat. This moment is holy, sacred, dangerous. One wrong emotional decision can reset your atmosphere for months. One clear refusal can open the sky within a day. The chain has been breaking for weeks now. Each dream, each moment of sadness, each sharp memory. But this is the final crack. Archangel Michael says the sword is drawn. The silence will fall. The spirit of confusion will scream, but it cannot stay. The miracle will touch down the moment you no longer look backward in mercy toward what God has removed in judgment. The separation is not cruelty. It is covenant. You were born to carry something sacred. But sacred things require sacred soil. And the chain made that soil unsafe. It ends now. It breaks here. Not softly. Not silently. But finally. You are now inside the final chamber. The hourglass is bleeding light, not sand. The last 45 minutes are not about waiting, they are about choosing. The pressure you feel pressing against your chest is not panic. It is prophecy taking form inside your bones. Heaven is aligning and earth is trembling beneath your name. Archangel Michael says this window is like no other. This is the door of no return. Once it shuts, it will not open again, not to the past, not to regret, not to the soul ties begging for one more chance. The miracle isn't just on the way, it has arrived early, but it is waiting for clearance. It stands outside your atmosphere, clothed in light and held back only by the residue of your last hesitation. This miracle is not casual. It is massive. It is final. It is weighty. God says you must not look back. You must not answer that one last message. You must not reconsider the comfort of captivity. The chains are broken, but the soul still echoes with old promises. Silence them. This is the moment the enemy tries one final plea, one final soft lie wrapped in sweet memory. But the truth is louder than it's ever been. And your soul, bruised but unshaken, is ready to obey. There is a divine courtroom watching you. A stillness hovering just beyond your vision. The wind knows your name. The trees have quieted. The air around you has thickened with holy anticipation. What happens in the next breath determines the rhythm of your next year. This is not a threat. This is divine timing sealed in prophecy. You are the last piece of alignment. Archangel Michael says the angels have taken position. One stands at the front of your house. Another guards your bed. A third watches over your name. No unclean spirit will pass this perimeter unless you let it in through memory. Your body may feel strange. Chills without warning. Pulses in your hands. Pressure in your skull. That is not sickness. That is divine compression. The miracle is pushing through the veil. There will be one last distraction. One last person, sound, or situation that tries to capture your attention. It will feel urgent. It will seem harmless. It is not. It is the final test before breakthrough. God says if you choose silence in that moment, a roar will rise from heaven in your favor. If you hold your boundary, the earth will yield what it has held back. If you do not flinch, the miracle will not delay another second. You have not waited in vain. You have wept into timelines you never understood. You have labored under burdens that were never meant to stay on your shoulders this long. But now, the winds shift. You will feel your atmosphere snap like thunder in the spirit. That is the judgment falling. The scales are balancing. The weight is lifting. Archangel Michael says the scroll of your name has been rewritten in fire. The mark of delay is being erased. The blockage is being shattered with holy precision. No more cycles. No more fog. No more stolen time. A new sound is being birthed from your spirit. It will not be a cry. It will be a clear sound. Like a bell in a storm. Like a trumpet in still water. That sound will signal the arrival of your next dimension. Heaven has watched you obey through betrayal, confusion, and collapse. This miracle is not a reward, it is a restoration. It is what should have always been yours, had you not been detoured by that chain, that voice, that past. God says the atmosphere will respond to you differently now. Even animals may behave strangely near you. Your name will sound different when spoken. Your eyes will carry a weight they did not carry before. You have been transfigured. The door has appeared. It may not be visible to your eyes, but your spirit has seen it already. That tightness you feel when thinking of certain places, people, or plans, that's the door denying them access to your future. Archangel Michael says the miracle will land like lightning, without warning, without apology. It will restore what was lost. But it will not touch what you refuse to release. Release is your key. You are in the final seconds now. Not minutes. Not hours. Seconds. You will feel something surge in your legs or hands. Do not panic. That is divine contact. Heaven is not asking you to be perfect. Heaven is asking you to be empty of resistance. You don't need answers. You need surrender. That's all the miracle requires now. The judgment has been rendered in your favor. The enemy has lost legal grounds. The watchers have documented your pain. The miracle has been granted. But only obedience opens the door. God says, in this final 45 minutes, do not return a call. Do not entertain a what if. Do not search their name. Do not revisit old texts. These are all triggers sent to delay the door from opening. The moment the door swings wide, you will feel a cooling presence, soft wind, quiet light, the stillness of glory. The sound of divine arrival is always still first. Then, suddenly, everything breaks open. There may be tears. Let them fall. That is the last of the chain exiting your bloodstream. That is the final grief being pulled from the root. That is the holy vacuum clearing space for what's next. You will not miss this miracle unless you miss yourself. Stay present. Stay awake. Stay empty. Archangel Michael says this is not a season of breakthrough. This is the final detonation of everything that stood between you and your divine timeline. The judgment has fallen. The miracle has ignited. The chain is broken. The door is opening. The rest is yours to receive.